This is Travis Lindsay. We're here at the Tyler Internal Medical Clinic in Tyler, Texas, and speaking with James Montana today, one of the patients at the clinic. And James, again, we're here to talk about the Max product. So, what doctor are you seeing here at the clinic?
I'm seeing Dr. Bradley.
Okay, Dr. Bradley was one of the first doctors that we were talking to, and I guess working with the product. And won't go into great detail here or in terms of questions, but just kind of how did he introduce the product to you in the first place?
Well, I'm a 2.5-year-old cancer patient, and Dr. Bradley didn't have anything to do with that, but when he knew my background, what I'd gone through, I had a cancer operation 2.5 years ago, and I've been cancer-free since. Praise the Lord for that.
Yes, sir.
But he was talking to me about some of the problems I was having from the chemo and the radiation, and he suggested that he asked me if I had ever tried anything like that, and I said no. I said I'm always kind of shy away from that kind of stuff. I've never had a problem in my life. I'm going to be 70 years old in July.
Okay.
And this was my first bout of ever being in a hospital in my entire life. But when he told me about it and what he thought it would do for me, and I had a lot of confidence in him just from talking to him in the past and what he's done for me. And so I told him I'd give it a try to see what would happen. And so I used it for about 2 weeks. And I was expecting to see some massive change in what was going on. But really the only thing I noticed at the very beginning is I started sleeping through the night.
Correct.
And I haven't slept through the night in years.
Correct.
So that was a huge change for me. And I decided at that point, that would be good enough for me if that's all that came out
Worth
of it.
it just from that
Right.
standpoint.
So I continued on with it, and I started to feel a little more energetic. I wasn't as how do I want to say, at the end of the day, I wasn't as run down as I had felt in the past, and as time went on, it just seemed like I was feeling better and better. So I actually stopped using it for about a week because I just wanted to see what would happen. Yeah, I've been through so much. I didn't know if for sure if that's what was taking place, and sure enough, I just almost within 3 days I wasn't sleeping through the night again. I mean, I noticed that right away, and that's when I started noticing my energy levels started to drop off again, and then so I picked it up and I've been on it ever since. It's been actually been about 7 or 8 months now.
Yeah.
That I've been taking it, and of course I've changed my diet also. And one of the things that surprised me, I was talking to Dr. Bradley just about 3 weeks ago, and because I told him, I said, there's a lot of food that I just don't have any taste for anymore. I said I eat it and it tastes really bad, and he just kind of chuckled, and he says, you're going to find out the longer you're on the GXL. He says you're going to find out that the only food that's going to taste good is real food.
Yeah.
You get into the fast food stuff, and he says you won't even want to go near it. And I'm starting to notice that. It just the idea of it just turns my stomach.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And Bradley, along with Dr. Keller and other doctors that I've talked to, one thing that's neat, the increase of glutathione because of the product allows you, or let me say it this way, the nutrients, vitamins, minerals, protein, whatever, from the foods that you eat, what's absorbed into the body and how much is absorbed into the body
Right.
is directly related to the amount of glutathione in the cell. So as you increase that, you're effectively increasing, the benefit of what you're eating.
Right.
As well. So that's, obviously a benefit there.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been on GXL?
I've been on it about 8 months now, 8, 9
Okay.
months. So it hasn't even been quite a year yet, but I've noticed a drastic change, and also I had the cancer I had was rectal cancer.
Okay.
And so I've had intestinal problems ever since the operation. The cancer hasn't returned. I've been, like I say, I've been cancer free for 2.5 years now, but the other problems have persisted, and that's just progressively gotten better and better and better. And I really believe it's the GXL that's helping that part of it along also.
Correct. Well, we have seen that because usually the things people notice more in the beginning are the energy, the sleeping better, things of that nature, and then progressively, um, just things that they really didn't think would see benefit, as time goes on are starting to see that. So that's neat to see.
Yeah.
And we're extremely grateful to be able to work with it, and I know you are,
Oh, yeah.
without a doubt.
I try to tell everybody that, and I was gonna tell you, there's another thing, I just thought about that. About 3 months after I was taking it, I was able to get off my high blood pressure medicine.
Is that right?
No
Okay.
more high blood pressure medicine.
Did Bradley take you off of it, or did you just stop it yourself?
No, we were talking about it, because
Okay.
I mean, he'd been watching and I'd been watching my blood pressure, and he said something that he had other patients that the same thing happened to them after a period of time. They, their blood pressure just came back to normal. He was able to take them off their blood pressure medicine, and it stayed normal. And that's the way I've been. I've been off my blood pressure medicine for about 6 months.
Is that
I
right?
haven't taken it at all, and I'm not having the problems I was having before.
Well, and that's what, we hear that a lot with, in fact, several of the patients we've talked to today. Blood sugar levels normalizing, triglyceride levels coming down, cholesterol, those issues, blood pressure, the same thing, to the point that not every patient has had the ability to come off of those medications, but a lot of them have. And a lot of the symptoms or side effects of those medications that they've seen, of course, are gone. I've had a couple of people mention the fact they're not spending as much money on some of their medications as well. So
Right.
that's a great thing.
I've always been kind of a hard sell for any kind of medication. My whole life, like I said, with this cancer, it's the first time I've ever been in the hospital, and my cure for everything was aspirin.
Yeah.
And I just never got into medication, and I was always leery of it. I watch the ads on TV, and you read stuff, and you go, I don't understand. I don't want to deal with the after effect or the side effects
Exactly.
of what they're talking about, even if it's just a 1 in a million chance.
Yeah.
Because I'd be the millionth that would get it.
Well, it's always in your mind, sure.
Right, exactly, and I don't think that helps either.
Yeah.
To
No,
have-
it's not.
Have that in the back of your mind. I wonder what this is going to
What
do to
this
me,
could
or where it's going to affect me down the road.
Yeah, well, I think that's what has given a lot of the doctors that we have seen work with the product confidence, is that they can essentially do the same things as the pharmaceuticals in most cases will do without the side effects of those.
Right.
And, that's from the doctor's standpoint, you're doing exactly what you took an oath to do in the first place, so that's a great thing,
That's true. That's
without
true.
a doubt.
Unfortunately, I don't know if I need to say this on camera.
No, go
but
ahead.
Unfortunately, most doctors, or a lot of doctors that I've run into, don't feel that way. They're on the pharmaceutical side rather than the side of the what I would call natural health products.
Well, no, and it's nothing that I think it needs to be said. Debbie was talking about it, one of the doctors here, Dr. Busby. And he said himself, he is a scientist, he is a doctor and trained in those things with pharmaceuticals. So they just don't get a lot of the training. Dr. Busby had very, very, just was very reluctant to even try the product in the beginning, but time after time, patient after patient, started seeing some great results. And you kind of, in time, have to start looking at, okay, is this a real thing? Is this just a placebo effect or in people's mind? And over and through the long term, that's why we've waited a while to do something like this, because we wanted to see definitively if this was a real situation and a real product.
You mentioned that state of mind, but that has an effect on your health also.
Sure.
I mean, what's going through your mind all the time of what's going to happen tomorrow or that type of thing. I mean, that causes stress.
Yes, it does.
And I know for a fact that I really believe that stress is what brought the cancer on in my body, because I actually, 7 years ago, my wife and I moved from California here. We lived in Southern California, and I was so stressed out that I got to the point where either I leave or die,
Yeah.
and that's why we're in East Texas now.
Better living, huh?
Oh yeah, really loving it. Really
Awesome.
loving it. Yeah,
Well, very good.
yeah.
Well, listen, James, I know it's your lunch hour, so I appreciate very much you taking some time to come by and talk to us, and we will let you get back out there and start fabricating again.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
Thank you.